There is something about the way space works inside a Japanese home that most people notice the moment they walk in, and then spend the rest of the visit trying to figure out. The rooms are not large. The storage is not extravagant. There is no extra wing, no oversized garage, no sprawling walk-in closet, and yet nothing is piling up. Nothing is fighting for space. Every drawer opens cleanly. Every surface is clear, and even the smallest corner seems to be quietly doing something useful. This is not an accident, and it is not magic. It is 12 specific organizing ideas that Japan has been refining for decades. Each one designed around a single question that most home design in the rest of the world has never seriously asked: what if the storage made putting things away just as easy as taking them out? Stay with me until idea number 10, because number 10 is the one that most people walk past in their own home every single day without realizing it is one of the most valuable storage opportunities in the entire house. And once you see what Japan does with it, you will never look at that spot the same way again. Let's go through all 12. Idea number 1, fold clothes vertically and see everything at once. Open a drawer in most homes, and the first thing you notice is what is on top. Everything else is underneath, gradually forgotten, buried under whatever was folded last. Japan's answer is to fold each item into a compact rectangle and store it upright, so every piece is visible from above the moment you open the drawer. Think of it less like a stack of papers and more like a row of books on a shelf. Each item stands independently, each is immediately visible, and pulling one out does not disturb anything beside it. Drawers that held 10 shirts now hold 15. Clothes forgotten at the bottom of a pile suddenly get worn again, and the drawer stays organized on its own, because nothing has been disturbed and nothing has been toppled. It takes 3 minutes to refold a single drawer. The result holds itself together without any maintenance. Idea number 2, use drawer dividers and give every item exactly one home. The problem with most drawers is not their size. It is the absence of any structure inside them. Without dividers, things slide around, categories blur, and the charging cable ends up next to the spare batteries, next to the scissors you have been looking for since Tuesday. Japanese homes solve this with small, simple dividers. Affordable versions from stores like Muji or Daiso, or simply repurposed containers already in the house. Each section holds one specific category: socks here, handkerchiefs next to them, accessories beside that. When every item has exactly one home, putting things away becomes automatic. There is no decision about where something goes. The right place is obvious. Japan calls this making the right choice the easy choice. That is the real purpose of a divider, not tidiness for its own sake, but a system that holds itself together without requiring daily effort to maintain. Idea number 3, think tall and slim instead of wide and bulky. This is a shift in perspective more than a specific product. Most storage furniture is wide and low, a broad chest of drawers, a wide cabinet. These feel substantial, but they consume a large floor footprint for storage that is often difficult to keep organized. Japanese homes go the other direction. Tall, narrow drawer towers with multiple shallow compartments. Shallow drawers have a specific advantage. Nothing gets buried. When a drawer holds only a single layer, everything inside is always visible and always accessible. These towers also fit spaces wider furniture cannot reach: the gap between a wardrobe and the wall, the strip beside a washing machine, the corner of a kitchen too narrow for a full cabinet. Japan asks a design question that changes the answer entirely. Not, how can we build more storage, But how can every centimeter of the space we already have do more work? Tall and slim is usually the answer. Idea number 4. Store frozen food standing up, like files in a cabinet. Here is a small problem almost every household has, and almost none of them have solved. The freezer becomes a mystery over time. Things get buried. Bags of something from 3 months ago surface at the back. Identical items get bought twice because the first one was invisible under everything else. Japan applies the same vertical logic to the freezer that it applies to drawers. Instead of laying frozen food flat and stacking bags on top of each other, narrow storage baskets or bins are placed inside the freezer, and food is stored standing upright inside them, organized by category, with every label visible the moment the door opens. Ground meat in one basket, vegetables in the next, seafood beside that. Every item visible at a glance. Every item reachable without moving anything else first. When you need one bag, you pull it straight out, and the rest stays exactly as it was. The secondary benefit of this system is something most people do not think about until they try it. Food waste goes down. When you can see everything you have, you use what you have. When things are buried, they disappear, and then they get thrown away. A visible freezer is a less wasteful freezer, and that compounds over time in a way that is genuinely significant. Idea number 5, repurpose file holders and put them in the kitchen. This is perhaps the most unexpected idea on this list, and it tends to get the biggest reaction when people first see it. A standard file holder, the kind most people have on a desk, has been quietly repurposed across Japanese kitchens. The vertical slots that normally hold folders instead hold cutting boards, baking trays, pot lids, and rolls of foil or parchment paper. Items that previously lived in a chaotic stack at the back of a cabinet now each have their own vertical slot. Slide one out, slide it back. Nothing moves, nothing topples. The reason this works so well is that flat kitchen items are almost impossible to store efficiently in horizontal stacks. They are too large for drawers, too awkward to stand alone, and too heavy to hang. A file holder gives them a vertical home with zero cost if you already own one, an immediate improvement the very first time you use it. Idea number 6, use shelf risers and instantly create a second level inside any cabinet. Open almost any kitchen cabinet that holds plates or bowls, and there is a version of the same problem. Plenty of empty air above the top item, but no way to use it efficiently. The plates stack on the bottom, the space above them goes to waste. And the cabinet still feels full because the floor of it is crowded even if the upper half is empty. A shelf riser is a small, low platform, sometimes wire, sometimes solid, that sits inside the cabinet and creates a second usable level above the first. Large plates stay on the bottom. Smaller bowls go on the riser above them. Coffee mugs no longer need to be stacked. Containers are easier to reach. One cabinet suddenly has the organized capacity of 2. No drilling, no tools, no renovation. The riser just sits there, and the cabinet works harder immediately. Many Japanese households use several of these throughout the kitchen, treating each cabinet not as a single storage zone, but as a multi-level system where every inch of vertical space is a potential opportunity. It is a direct expression of how Japan thinks about space. Not what is there, but what could be there. Idea number 7. Install pull-out trays, so nothing ever gets lost at the back again. Deep cabinets have one consistent problem. The front is accessible. The back becomes a graveyard. Things go in and over months, slowly become unreachable. Most people stop using the back half of a deep cabinet entirely without ever consciously deciding to. Japan addresses this with pull-out storage trays, sliding platforms that bring the entire contents of the cabinet forward in one motion. Need the rice cooker at the back? You do not reach for it. You pull the tray, and it comes to you. The cleaning supplies, the mixing bowls, the cooking oil, everything slides out together and back together. The pull-out tray does not add storage. It simply makes the storage already there fully usable every time without inconvenience. In Japan, storage you cannot easily access is not really storage. It is just a place where things go to be forgotten. Idea number 8. Move spices off the counter and onto the walls. This one is about reclaiming a surface that most kitchens treat as a spice shelf without ever consciously deciding to. Walk into most home kitchens, and a portion of the counter is occupied by bottles, salt, pepper, oil, a few spices, maybe a sauce or two that gets used regularly. They live there because the counter is convenient and because there was never a better plan. Japanese kitchens redirect these items to vertical surfaces. Magnetic spice jars attach directly to the side of the refrigerator. Slim spice racks mount to the wall beside the stove. Narrow rails installed along the backsplash hold small containers without touching the counter at all. The effect on the counter itself is significant. A clear counter is not just aesthetically calmer, it is physically easier to cook on, faster to wipe down, and more flexible for whatever task is actually happening. And because each spice now has a fixed spot on the wall, finding it takes a glance rather than a search. Japan treats the walls not as boundaries, but as usable surfaces, and the kitchen is where that philosophy produces the most immediate daily return. Idea number 9. Use multi-layer hangers and multiply your closet rail. Closets tend to reach their limit not because of the total volume of clothing, but because the hanging rail runs out of space. One item per hanger, hangers packed together, and the closet appears full, even when half the clothes could store far more efficiently. The multi-layer hanger is Japan's direct answer. A single hanger that holds 5 or even 10 items on cascading arms below the main hook. One position on the rail becomes the storage of 5. A crowded closet gains real breathing room without losing a single item. Because each piece hangs on its own arm, removing one does not disturb the others. The closet that felt impossibly full often has more room than it appears to. It just needed the system to use the vertical space below the rail. Now, idea number 10, the one I mentioned at the beginning, the gap most people walk past every single day. Idea number 10, the slim rolling storage cart and the narrow gap that was never empty at all. Look around your home right now and find a narrow gap between the refrigerator and the wall, beside the washing machine, next to a bathroom cabinet. These gaps exist in almost every home and almost universally go unused, not because there is nothing to store, but because conventional storage is not built to fit there. Japan built storage that is. The slim rolling cart is designed specifically for these spaces, narrow enough to slide into a gap of 15 to 20 centimeters, fitted with several shelves, and mounted on wheels so that the entire unit pulls out smoothly when you need it and disappears back into the gap when you do not. In a kitchen, it holds cooking oils, canned goods, and spice overflow. In a bathroom, it holds towels, cleaning supplies, and toiletry extras. In a laundry area, it holds detergent, fabric softener, and everything that previously lived on top of the machine. What makes this idea so powerful is not just the storage it creates. It is the realization it triggers that space you have been ignoring as empty was never empty at all. It was waiting for the right idea. Japan tends to be very good at finding those spaces because Japanese design starts from the assumption that no space is wasted space, only space with insufficient imagination applied to it. Idea number 11, match your storage containers and let the visual calm do the work. This one is less about a specific product and more about a design principle that shows up consistently in Japanese homes. A shelf of mismatched containers, different sizes, colors, and materials collected over years, is visually busy even when technically organized. The eye processes each item individually. The shelf reads as cluttered even when it is not. A shelf of matching containers reads as calm even when completely full. Japanese storage stores like Muji built entire product lines around this principle. Bins, boxes, and drawers in consistent sizing designed to combine across every room. The practical benefit is that they are modular. The same bin that holds toiletries in the bathroom can hold stationery in a bedroom. When needs change, containers just move rather than get replaced. Matching storage is not about perfection. It is about a visual default that feels calm. And a home that feels calm is a home that is easier to maintain. Idea number 12. Clear containers with labels. Know exactly what you have before you open anything. The last idea is also the simplest, and possibly the one with the highest daily return of all 12. In many Japanese kitchens, dry goods, rice, flour, sugar, pasta, lentils, tea are moved from original packaging into clear containers labeled on the front, stored in consistent positions. Every item in the pantry becomes visible, identifiable, and quantifiable at a glance. The daily compound of this is not small. You stop buying rice when rice is already there. You notice when flour is running low before you are in the middle of a recipe. Every member of the household can find things without asking. Grocery shopping gets faster because the inventory is visible rather than hidden in opaque packaging of varying sizes. The label is the key detail. Clear containers let you see content. Labels communicate the system to everyone in the home, and a pantry, where the system is legible to everyone who uses it, is a pantry that stays organized without one person maintaining it alone. Here is what connects all the 12 of these ideas. None of them are about owning less. None require a bigger home, more cabinet space, or a renovation budget. Every one of them takes the space you already have and designs it so that maintaining order costs less effort than letting it slip. Each idea looks small on its own. Together, they change the daily experience of being inside your home. From a place where organization is something you do when things get bad enough, to a place where organization is simply what the space does. Japan figured this out, not by having smaller homes and accepting inconvenience, but by asking better questions about what a well-designed home is actually supposed to do for the person living in it. Now here is what I want from you before you close this video. Look at that list of 12. Pick the one that matches the exact problem you have been solving the hard way. The drawer that never stays organized, the cabinet where things disappear, the counter that never quite clears, the closet that always feels too full. Tell me the number in the comments, 1 through 12, and if you want, tell me the room. Because there is a version of this list that applies to every room in your home, and knowing which one is your starting point is genuinely useful. And if this gave you even one idea, you are actually going to use. Share it with one person whose home you have been inside and thought, there is a better answer to this. There usually is. Japan found 12 of them. I will see you in the next one.